place you'd expect to find a mermaid is in Benoni, let alone anywhere else on Earth. But over 500 kilometers from the nearest ocean is where we discovered Mermaid Storm and her pod. Draped in shells and shimmery shades of the sea, this is real, guys. Very real. Candice Baker is a 48-year-old mum of two who is making waves in Benoni. Nothing unusual here. She teaches aerial yoga, does belly and fire dancing. Interesting, you might think. But wait for it. Candice is actually a mermaid. So now you and your friends get together and like, I call my friends a squad. You have another word. You guys are
we're a pod, a mermaid pod. So that comes from a whale pod. And we definitely sometimes feel and look like beached whales when we're in our tails and we can't move around and we have to roll over to a rock or whatever.
Candice goes by the name Mermaid Storm, and it's clear she's the warrior leader in this group of sirens. With her sea-tangled tresses and shimmering aquamarine tail, she says that her love of the mythical creatures all began 4 years ago because of a challenge.
This all started with an aerial yoga challenge. We had to dress up as mermaids and do some poses in the yoga hammocks. So I went out and I bought a roll of t-shirt material and I sewed it into a tube and I put a tutu around my ankles so that I kind of looked like a mermaid. And we did the aerial yoga poses and I loved it. And I just decided from then on I was going to be a mermaid.
Her life has always been centered around the ocean. Candice says she was conceived on one of the islands in Vanuatu in the Southwest Pacific and then born in Sydney, Australia. Were you a water baby when you were a child?
So as a child, I did do some swimming. I was never a particularly strong swimmer, but I did participate. So I've always been swimming, but now I'm really taking it seriously. I'm doing a free diving course so that I can learn to hold my breath underwater for longer, because then you don't have to have all that equipment on you while you are swimming.
Candice believes her journey of wellness began after she finished studying psychology. She wanted to help people, so worked in a rehab center, but then dived into travel and became a flight attendant and worked for SAA for 2 years.
And then when I came back, I started my wellness business. So I started teaching ladies the aerial yoga, even pole dance, all the circus arts, everything in the air, basically. So it's so empowering to learn an aerial art because you become strong, you become so excited at what you're learning to do, and you begin to see your body in a whole different way. You really begin to appreciate yourself. So the swimming motion is a lot like belly dancing if you're doing a body wave. So it's that kind of motion. So it opens up your hips. It's great for your spine, and then your arms come up like this. So that's kind of your motion. And it's hypnotic and beautiful.
To get that mermaid emotion, you need to use a monofin. It's a bit like tying your legs together and needs lots of practice.
So the monofin is a rubber fin that you slide both of your feet into instead of having two individual flippers. And it's a very strong rubber or fiberglass fin that helps propel you through the water. It is the most magnificent feeling to glide through the water in a tail. And instead of kicking your feet and throwing your arms everywhere, you're sort of just pushing your body through the water. It's hypnotic. Even to watch it on a video, it's absolutely hypnotic and calming. And I think it's a form of meditation.
To really make a splash, you need a shimmering tail in all the colors of, well, the ocean. Some are bespoke silicone, complete with scales costing over 25,000 rands, weighing up to 15 kilograms. So you've got to be quite creative with the outfits, and you've got a story behind the bikini top.
You can't obviously buy things like this, so you have to become really good with glue and very creative at finding things to put on your crown or on your bra. So these are my mom's dinner plates. In the 70s, they used to serve shrimp cocktail in these little dinner plates. So I now have a set of 8, and 2 of them are on my boobs.
Being a mermaid in Benoni has its challenges. So, like all beautiful sea creatures, Candace and her pod head to the actual ocean as much as possible to splash on the water and swim with dolphins. What reaction do you get, though, when you tell people around you that you're a mermaid?
Generally, they laugh and they think I'm joking. And then when I explain that it's a lifestyle and I swim every day and how hard I train and how hard I practice my breath holding and my diving techniques, they're generally quite taken aback because it seems like a fairy tale.
It's hard work being a siren of the sea. Mermaid Storm can now hold her breath for over 2 minutes and can swim over 25 meters underwater.
And it's difficult because when you're swimming with your legs together and you're in a current in the ocean, you need to be a strong swimmer. So we practice in the swimming pool first. I'm currently discussing a mermaid qualification, and you'll be certified so that you can safely swim underwater, safely free dive down into the depth of the ocean.
Mermaid Storm's dream is to have a retreat on the coast and a space for her fellow maids and men to swim and just be.